My grandma taught me if you can't win the argument, start a fire in the lobby. And right now, the lobby is smoking. That sanctions motion we just saw is a cheap smoke machine designed to hide the fact that they are terrified of the unsealing. We had that emergency hearing, and for a minute, everybody was like, okay, what happened? Then the filings show up, and suddenly the whole story turns into a blackout page with a couple words left standing, which tells you everything you need to know. Here is the move. On the same day her side is asking the court for more time on the unsealing issue, they drop a sanctions motion like it is a fire alarm. Extension request, sealing request, sanctions motion. That combo is not random. That is a strategy. It is a way to drag the conversation off evidence and into a fight about behavior. They are asking for sanctions against two defense attorneys, Brian Friedman and Kevin Fritz. They say those attorneys did things during the expert deposition that blocked a fair examination of their designated expert, Nicole Alexander. That is the claim. But the problem is the same problem every single time. The public is being asked to take it on faith while the filing keeps the details locked behind redactions. And they are not asking for one small fix. They are asking for a full package. They want the court to punish the attorneys. They want the expert to sit again for up to an extra hour. They want the other side to pay for it. So it is punishment, more time, and a bill. And that is why this feels like leverage. It is pressure. It is designed to make the court manage the adults while the substance stays hidden. Now zoom out and look at the timing again. Earlier that same day, her side sends the court a letter asking for more time on unsealing. Two big motions have been sitting under seal since early November, and people have been waiting for the material to get out into daylight. Instead, the request is basically, give us more time, keep it sealed longer, and then the sanctions filing lands right after. That tells you the goal. Change the subject, shift the heat. Because the second you say sanctions, people stop talking about what is sealed and start arguing about who was rude in a deposition. It is a perfect pivot. It is also a very convenient pivot. And this is why I keep calling it a smoke bomb. Because sanctions motions do not even have to win to work. They just have to land. They pull the judge into managing the room. They pull the audience into picking sides about attitude. They drag the whole case into a debate about who was being difficult instead of what the documents actually prove. It is the oldest trick. If the facts are clean, you let the facts talk. If the facts are messy, you start a fight about the rules. That is why the deposition scenes matter. That Jamie Heath excerpt matters for a reason. It is the kind of transcript moment that turns into a messy argument about whether someone gets to read a document, whether someone is talking over someone, whether the record is clean, how much time is left, whether anyone is going off the record. Then the break happens with minutes on the clock and everybody walks away mad. Those scenes are great for one thing, creating the feeling of chaos. And chaos is useful when you want the judge and the public focused on conduct instead of content. Then you get the Nicole Alexander dispute tied to the call with the judge. And again, the public gets a story with missing pieces. We are told things got bad early in the deposition. We are told it affected the examination, but the specifics are hard to evaluate when the filing is so heavily redacted. That is the recurring issue. The accusation is loud, the record is quiet. And the redactions are the tell. Not because redactions are always wrong, but because the way they are used here makes the public do guesswork. You are told the conduct was improper. You are told it started early. You are told it ruined the deposition. But you are not shown the full context. So the filing becomes a trust exercise. Believe this, assume that, fill in the blanks. And that would be fine if they were not also asking for punishment, extra time, and money. You do not get to ask for consequences while hiding the story that supposedly justifies them. Then you layer in the September 29th email described in the motion. According to their filing, that email was the ramp. First, it lists complaints about objections and interruptions. Then it escalates into their claim about questions into Blake's personal life and marriage, with threats of protective orders and sanctions if it happens again. That is a serious allegation for them to make. It is also a very effective narrative tool because it instantly paints one side as reckless and the other side as protective, even if the underlying context is not fully visible to the public. And that is where the double standard argument comes in. They lean on protection language. then they also point back to damaging allegations about him from years ago. So the message becomes, do not ask her certain questions, but keep him under the harshest spotlight possible. That is not neutral. That is narrative shaping. Now add the control angle that keeps showing up in this case. The sequence fights. Who gets deposed first? Who gets priority? Who gets the first crack at third parties? That matters because it builds the pattern. Control the order, control the timeline, control what gets seen. Then file something loud when the schedule is not going your way. And the third lane that hits with audiences is the third-party hypocrisy. They were very concerned about not burdening certain people, especially the busy, well-connected ones. There was that whole vibe of protect the third party, protect the schedule, do not inconvenience him, treat his time like it is priceless. But now they have no issue pushing for another hour, plus sanctions, plus fees, on this expert, while the public still cannot see the full story of what happened. The combined thesis stays simple. They ask for more time, they keep things sealed, then they file sanctions to force everyone to argue about manners. And they do it while the public is still blocked from checking the work. That is why it reads like a pressure play, not a truth play. So they can keep pulling the fire alarm and they can keep redacting the record until it is just one giant ink blot. But like my grandma also used to say, you cannot hide the smell of smoke forever. Eventually, the curtains have to open, and when they do, a sanctions motion about manners is not going to save them. Before you go, thank you for the love, the views, and the support. If you like how I break down the docket and call out the games, hit like, subscribe, and drop your take below. And if the lively side is listening to this, don't stress. I can help you redact your comments on my opinions from the comment section.